Welcome back to the Psychology of Business podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brandon Griffin, and joining me in the studio is Dr. Saad Ashraf. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Brandon.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on. So, me and Saad were students together during our PhD programs. We got our PhD in management. We both focus on organizational behavior. But Saad is actually a Fulbright student. And I wanted to bring him on. I wanted to talk about that because I think obviously it's very prestigious, but I just wanted to hear a little bit more about what it was. So, Saad, could you tell us what Fulbright is and just give us some information about it?
Yes, so Fulbright is a very prestigious scholarship that is actually funded by you guys. Americans actually pay for it. It's a program by the US Senate. And the good thing about this program is that they want Americans to get this scholarship and go study in other countries like Europe or Asia. But then people from other parts of the world get a fully funded scholarship to come to America. And it's a very good cultural exchange program because you get to come here and a lot of the things are just paid by us, so including your ticket, all of your tuition fee. Actually, you get a monthly stipend to live here. Then there are a lot of conferences that you get to attend with people from your own country, but also people from all over the world, so you build a lot of international connections. And another great part of it is that you get to, after your program is finished, so after your master's or PhD, go back to your country and you have to live there for 2 years. And the reason for that is because they want you to take everything you have consumed in America and go and, just do things for your own country, like spread positive things about America, but also uh, the knowledge that you have gained, they want you to do something for your own country. So it helps both parties. So that's why I really admire that program.
So, for those in the audience who don't know, Saad is from Pakistan. How did you find out about this program and what was the culture shock? Where did you go in the United States?
So a lot of people don't know this, but actually, I don't know if the statistics are true for right now, but around 10 years ago, the countries which received the most Fulbright scholarships were Afghanistan and Pakistan. So because US has been involved in that part of the world, and they actually wanted better relations with those countries. So that's why a lot of people um, were applying for Fulbright at that time. So my batch from Pakistan was around 150 people. And how I found out about this was that actually we have an organization in Pakistan called United States Education Foundation in Pakistan. It's located in the capital, and it's actually their job to promote it. So they would go into different universities, have seminars about it, encourage people to take the GR exam. They even said that, if you uh, get shortlisted for this scholarship, then they might even waive the GRE fee, which is, a lot for people in Pakistan. They might not be able to afford it. And then there are shortlisted interviews. Probably have to go to another city, and people who already have been part of this program, so some alumni, they interview you. And then once you get selected, they actually apply for different universities for you. So for me, most of my universities were located in the Midwest, but my top ones were University of Illinois and Michigan State, and they apply to different programs for you. And then once you get admission, then, I mean, I actually was really happy with University of Illinois. So once I got admission, I emailed them, can you please just send me there? uh, that university had a really good reputation in Pakistan. So then I was sent to the cornfields in Illinois. And when I reached there, people were like, "What are you doing here from Pakistan? Like, how did you choose this?" Um, but Champaign was a really good location, actually, being closer to Chicago. And Champaign also has, Urbana-Champaign has one of the largest Asian student populations. So I got to meet a lot of people from China, India, and Korea, and then a lot of Americans, including Pakistani Americans from Chicago. Um, and as I mentioned, along with the study, I went to multiple seminars, some organized by Fulbright, some seminars you can attend by yourself and they can provide the funding for it. So, really good educational experience, but also cultural experience.
So, what is the education like here? You're in a degree program, but are there any other requirements? What you have to do? Is it more rigorous? What is the actual scholar the actual academic experience like?
So it's not as rigorous because, as I mentioned, that for some people they might have to um, take loans to do their masters, or even in their masters they are actually doing some jobs so they could, pay for their apartments or something. But as Fulbrighters, our job was actually to just get involved in the community, so do some volunteer work along with our education. So in fact, it wasn't that much hard work. Actually, I think other people had it much harder. If your job is actually to connect with the local community, like, try to find a local family which will host you, and so you can tell them more about Pakistan, or just volunteering at the library, something like that. Just I would literally meet anyone and just tell them that I'm from Pakistan. A lot of them had never even heard of the country or met anyone from there, so that one was really good experience. And oh yeah, I was gonna mention something about cultural shock. So I don't know if I'm like a really good. I don't think I'm a representative Pakistani, because for other people the experience might have been different. But I was lucky enough to go to a university in Pakistan which was very Americanized. Like in my undergrad, our books and our case studies were exactly like probably you were studying in Utah. So in our mind, we were already so Americanized that coming here wasn't that much of a cultural shock, mainly because the main language was English. When I traveled to Mexico, for example, and saw Spanish everywhere, then I felt a cultural shock. So speaking English really helps, especially if you're from South Asia. We were part of a British colony. So English has always been part of our education. So that one really helped. Another big shock actually is the reverse shock, that when you come here, you get settled here, and you have your own version of your country in your mind. But then going back, everything felt different for a month or two. Like I was like, where are all the women on the street? Like I'm not used to just seeing men again. So it takes you a couple of months to get settled back in your own country.
And had you been to the United States before your Fulbright experience? Oh, interesting. And why do you think the college experience was so close to the experience in the United States? Was it because it used to be a British colony, or is it because they intentionally tried to make it more like education in the United States?
So our country actually has a dual system. Some educational institutes are totally in English, and they usually follow books or the curriculum from US, or it used to be more UK, now it's more US. And there are like some other education institutes that focus more on some other languages. And those people, if they immigrate somewhere, they have to struggle more. But for me, as I mentioned, I don't know if you know this as an American, but for some fields, like America is considered like, the epitome of that field. It comes to business management or finance, um, computer science, engineering. So for some of these things, no matter which part of the world you're from, you would want to at least come study in the US, where because US is always like in the forefront of research in these areas.
I think the Fulbright program is great because one, you're bringing people from outside of the United States here, but also I think as Americans we forget about the rest of the world. You know, America's the greatest country of all time. Everywhere else isn't America, so we're not going to think about it, which I think's bad because there's a whole world out there. America's not the best in everything. There's some great things about the United States, obviously, but we have a lot we can learn from other people, other countries. And talking about our PhD program, there were five of us who initially started the program. There was me from Utah, there was Chris from Chicago, but then there was Saad from Pakistan, Lorraine from Zimbabwe, and Giogo from Brazil. So that was a great experience for me because I was able to learn more about everyone. I was able to learn great people, but I was able to learn about the cultures where everyone's from.
Yeah, I love that part of our PhD, and some of the classes we took with our colleagues from marketing who were, from China and Nepal and Iran. So just seeing people from different parts of the world. And again, like my job was to, tell people about the stereotypes from Pakistan might not be true, but then even I have stereotypes about other countries, like Africa. So Lorraine was the one who actually broke those stereotypes for me. Or I met like people from the Middle East, like from Saudi Arabia, and what you think about the people from that country, that is not always true. So that's why again, like I think maybe there are only few countries in the world. Like you come to America not just to meet Americans, but you can meet from people all over the world. Even your neighbors, like in Pakistan, I didn't see anyone from India or Iran, so I had to come to the US to meet people from my part of the world. That makes US, very unique, and I really admire that.
Yeah, I think America is great because we can accept people. We can. We don't always do, but I think we're best when we accept people, no matter who and where, what they are. So, what was a stereotype you had of America before you came here, or of Americans?
I think US is lucky in that way that because of Hollywood, a lot of people are actually aware of things about America, and the stereotypes are not always negative. Some stereotypes are very positive, like there'll be big roads and everything will be nice and clean. One stereotype which turned out to be true was that people were so nice. Like you go to a library and people are nice and smiling at you. You go to a DMV and people are just nice and they're there to help you. Because in other countries, customer service isn't always like this. People, I don't know if they just have issues in their lives or they just are bad at emotional labor, but they are not that nice to you. Even you are the customer, they're supposed to help you. So Americans in general were super nice. One stereotype which turned out to be false was that Hollywood presents this picture that America is this, big secular country and probably won't be super religious, but it's compared to other developed countries in Western Europe, a lot of churches here. People take religion very seriously, which is again common with my country. Like people follow different religions, but both countries, go
Mhm.
to like you guys go to church every Sunday, and that's very common in US.
Was there a religious culture shock come to the United States?
No, again, my country is a bit diverse, so we knew we have Christians in our country as well, who are a minority there. So actually, the first time I came to the US, my first day, literally, like I arrived here. The second day, I think it was Sunday, and I was passing by a church, and there was service happening, so I actually went to attend it. I've always been curious about going to a church. Um, so I actually became part of some Christian organizations at my university as well. So I really, they were super. I feel like the Christian organizations really helped international students, so I really liked that about them. But I do feel that a lot of them actually want you to maybe get converted to Christianity or accept Jesus Christ in your life, which a lot of people might not know, but actually a lot of Muslims already appreciate Jesus Christ. So we already, it's not like we actually believe in a lot of things that Christians do already. So for me, uh, learning new things about Christianity wasn't that new to me. Like a lot of things, I was already familiar with.
So, how would you say Fulbright has impacted your personal life and then also your professional career where you're at now?
So it changed my life. Like literally, I'm here. I could not have imagined that for Fulbright, mostly people come here, study, then they go back. And once you start your job there, you probably will, wouldn't even leave again. You'll just settle there. But for me, I spent 2 years there. Then I was in academia, so I realized that maybe it will be a better idea to pursue a PhD because otherwise, with a master's, you get stuck in academia. You definitely need to be a doctor. So again, it's just shows you how much I liked Illinois that I only applied in Illinois and the states around it. So I got into Southern Illinois, which is again a different part of Illinois. So Illinois, Central Illinois was more like cornfields and typical Midwest, and Southern Illinois is closer to St. Louis and Nashville, and it's a very different culture but a lot of different interesting geography there, like some national forests and lakes and wineries. So, and I will say this during Fulbright, I was more concerned with traveling because I thought I only have 2 years, so I would want to travel and see as much as US. But in Carbondale was the first time when I had more of a social life and I got to just focus on my town and try all the restaurants there. So very different time. And now I'm in Michigan, in upper part of Michigan. And it feels like I'm in first time in US all over again, because people here are even nicer than other parts of America. So it feels exactly the same as I arrived in Champaign my first day, because people here are maybe on another level of nice. Maybe it's being close to Canada, or I don't know. Interestingly, this will also be the coldest place where I ever lived. I've never like lived in such a cold place. So
You're all the way up there. You're like right on the Canadian border, right?
uh,
Yeah. Well, Saad, it's been great. You've been a great friend. I'm glad we took the program together. But what advice do you have for Pakistanis or other people who want to get into the Fulbright program?
my first advice is to please take the GRE exam. I don't know, for a lot of people, they just get scared of GRE. Like, it's okay to just take it, and if you don't get the score, and it's fine, you can always retake it. But a lot of people are just always too, they would ask me for things. Can I just get Fulbright or come to the US without ever doing GRE? So, no, I don't think there is any loophole. So, first take the exam, work on your English, and if you could just do it even before applying for Fulbright, like if you could just start in your undergrad, just start reading more English novels, try to improve your vocabulary, so then you will be more ready for the GRE. And again, a lot of people, if you apply, a lot of people do get it. So even before applying, I was very nervous about it. But the selection rate isn't that bad, especially if you are a good English speaker. If you want to come to US but then go back and do something for your country, and if you're doing something in a field which really Pakistan is in need of, like if you're studying sustainability, or uh, things like climate change. So some things which Pakistan, is in dire need right now, maybe demography. So definitely apply for Fulbright. Even with a low GRE score, I can probably imagine that they will probably select you, especially if you are from more underdeveloped and underdeveloped areas of Pakistan where people are not that represented in bigger cities. So those people, I think, should like be more likely to get it. So definitely apply if you're a minority and a woman and from rural areas of Pakistan.
Well, good. Is there anything else you think we should know or you'd like to share about the Fulbright?
Um, just one funny thing that a lot of people think, it's Fulbright, so it's like you're full and you're bright, but it has nothing to do with that. It was named after an educator from US, Mr. Fulbright from Arkansas. So that's why University of Arkansas get a lot of Fulbrighters, because of that. But a great name and really great program. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you, Saad. Everyone, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Psychology of Business podcast. I've been your host, Dr. Brandon Griffin, and I'd like to excuse me, and I'd like to thank Dr. Saad Ashraf for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Brandon.
Have a good one.